What up? It's your boy, Scopeo. And then,
What's up?
yeah, and then there's me. So, yeah. Welcome aboard. I'm glad to have you guys back as we continue our quest to complete all of E3 2017. Now, we're watching these a bit later than everyone else because I had stuff that came up and then he was busy, so it got put off like a day or two while we got all of that handled, but now we can watch the rest of them, so it's time to talk about Nintendo's. Now, the main reason I wanted to watch Nintendo's press conference the first time in years is because I want Nintendo to compete. I really want Nintendo to do good. I don't want them to be off in the corner. I want them to actually be a real striving force.
Yeah.
Here's the problem, though. Nintendo's kind of been irrelevant since the Wii, and I really haven't paid attention to them since the Wii was their main console, so...
Yeah, true. Same here.
Let's see if Nintendo can bring us back with this new hardware, and go ahead and dive right into it. So, fair warning, when we talk about these games, there's probably not going to be much footage being shown, because Nintendo's really draconian when it comes to sharing footage and shared properties and stuff like that. They will go ham on your ass if they think you're stealing something, which to them basic YouTube footage is theft in their opinion. So if you do see footage, we got out okay. If you don't see any game footage, I hope you understand that we couldn't really put it in without Nintendo getting honest. But we'll see how it goes. I'm going to try to put it in, but no guarantees. So now, as we start the press conference, I have to honestly say I can no longer give Sony shit for having too short of a press conference anymore, in my opinion, because Nintendo takes the cake in that field.
By far.
Because while Sony's was like an hour and 2 minutes, Nintendo's was 25 minutes.
25.
Though I do have to give it to Nintendo, they had a much more jam-packed and filled event than Sony had in their entire hour, because if I take my sheet here that I wrote for getting Sony notes when we did our video on that, and take our notes from Nintendo's press conference, and put them side by side, they're about the same. Sony had a little bit more if you count the VR properties and a couple other games, but if we take VR off the list in like one title, they're almost neck and neck in titles.
Pretty much.
Which I'd say that's pretty impressive given the time frame that Nintendo had for this.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's talk about some games, bro.
Let's get into it.
So first up on the list, we have Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Now, I never played the first one. The first one looked pretty fucking awesome, though, and I did watch other people play it online, and it seemed pretty cool.
It did.
And the second one seems equally as good. The one thing that did confuse me with the concept, though, was I could not tell if the chick in the video was his sword or, like, channeling some energy to get his sword or not.
Yeah, same here. I couldn't tell if, like, he needed her to, like, use the sword or something.
Or if she, like, transformed into the sword when he hit, like, the note or whatever on her chest or something like that.
Yeah,
it was a little confusing on how they showed that trailer, because you'd see points where it was just him and the sword, and then you'd see other ones where it looked like she was channeling some form of energy to do it.
Yeah.
So it was really confusing to tell that, but beyond that, the game looked good, and
it did.
Ooh boy, this one brought me back to a simpler time.
Yes.
This reminded me back in the day when I would stay up till like 2 in the morning on the weekends watching Toonami, so I could watch all the anime stuff and everything.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it with its art style and how it presented itself, it reminded me of that, and I like it a lot for that. And if I had a Switch, I'd probably keep an eye on this game.
Same here. I would too.
So next up, we have Kirby. Now, it surprised me how long Kirby's actually stayed around now that I think about it, because he's been there since the ground floor of Nintendo, and he's nowhere near as iconic as Mario, Link, or Samus, and all the other people like that.
Right.
So it's just surprising to see that he's held out for this long.
It did.
That being said, Kirby games have always been pretty good, so I imagine that's why it's held out for this long.
Yeah.
Though, for me, it's been quite a while since I've played a Kirby game.
Same.
Like, quite a long while. Like the
a
last one I
decade.
played was like back on the GameCube, if I'm remembering correctly, and the Game Boy were the last 2 times I played Kirby. So it's been a good while, son.
Yeah, quite like a decade.
Yeah. So yeah, it's nice that we're getting a new Kirby game. I will say the one thing that looked cool of this one was how you could recruit enemies and have them fight with you, and then how their combo moves would have them work together and do different things to create the power-ups. That was also pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like this game co-op would be really fun.
Oh, yes. I would love to play that game, like, for multiplayer and stuff.
Yeah.
Just the multiplayer, even the competitive side, would look really fun, too.
So yeah, Kirby looked pretty good. So next up, we have Pokemon information. Now, fair warning, we don't have a lot to talk about from Pokemon, but we did at least get a good bit to talk about. And I'm not going to show any footage here because there's not really any footage to show of this. They literally got one of the big guys from Nintendo Japan to basically be like, hey, here's the guy from Pokemon Company to give you some more information on it, which he gave us 2 pieces of information when it came to Pokemon and the Switch.
Yeah.
Now, the first one they gave us is that Poken Tournament Deluxe is coming to the Switch, boy. And Pokemon Tournament Deluxe looked fucking awesome when they announced that back on the Wii U and when it came out. It just looked like Soul Calibur and Pokemon had a crack baby that was amazing.
Hell yeah, man. I wish I played that game, man. I wish I had it. It looked really fun.
That was one of the few titles that made me envious for not having a Wii U, because I really wanted to play it. And now it's coming to the Switch. I'm sorry there. So if I ever do get a Switch, I can now finally play the damn thing, which, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Hells yeah.
Then next up, the other piece of news was probably the biggest bomb drop that the Pokemon guys really had to talk about. They announced the people at Game Freak are making the next core Pokemon game for the Switch. Meaning that all of the main RPG titles that you've played on the Game Boy, the DS, and so on, that's going to be on the Switch with all of the Switch's hardware.
That's going to be pretty
That's going to be pretty awesome now that I think about it. Though, we have nothing to really show here. They just said it's in development and it's coming.
Yeah.
Though I'm pretty excited to hear more about it.
I am too. I would really look forward to it.
Yeah. Next up, we have Metroid Prime 4.
Woo! It's been a while.
It's been a while since the last Metroid Prime game. I think the last one, Metroid Prime 3, was like an early Wii title, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a while since they've done a mainline Metroid game.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, we did not get any information or gameplay or anything on this. It was Metroid Prime 4, and then that was the majority of it.
Pretty much.
Which, I guess the news of it coming in of itself is good enough for me, because it's something new, and they're actually showing a lot more. And I want to forgive it a little bit more, because this press conference was shorter.
It was.
Like, if this was a full-length press conference and or digital event, and it was only that, I would have been a bit more pissed. But given the fact that it was only 25 minutes, the fact that they were able to cram it in and at least show that it is a reality is really cool. Yeah. And I remember playing Metroid Prime 1 back at my friend's house, and that game was pretty lit, boy.
Hells yeah.
So let's go ahead and move forward. Next up, I'm gonna have Scope introduce this, because this is his boy.
It's fucking Yoshi, man! Fucking Yoshi, dude.
This man loves him some Yoshi.
Yes. Even though I haven't really played his game back in the day.
Yeah, the one back on the N64.
Yeah. I just love him a lot, with just as a character, you know. The Mario Kart and everything else.
And I will say the mechanics they were showing off for this Yoshi game did look semi-cool, of how it's like a cardboard pop-up environment, and the whole thing's like 3D, and you can like move around within it, and they showed like interactivity with the background and everything else.
Yeah.
It looked really cool, so...
And you can do like a move. He like jumped and did like the little sit-down move to like flip the whole area kind of
like you can change from which side you're seeing it on, then you can see like things you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
Yeah.
So all in all, like the whole game itself looked pretty cool. Yeah. And if I had a Switch, I'd keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I would definitely get it if I had the Switch.
And then next up, we had my personal favorite from this press conference. Fire Emblem Warriors. And if I'm
Yes.
going to quote a really cruddy 1979 movie, Warriors, come out to play. That movie.
Oh, man.
But I love Fire Emblem. I remember playing Fire Emblem back in the day, straight binging that on the Game Boy and loving it.
Hells yeah.
And it was just such a great experience. I remember one story in particular where on a school night I stayed up till like 2 in the morning playing it because I wanted to get through this level so bad, but it was so hard, so I kept retrying it and trying it and trying it.
Right.
Then as I'm playing out here in the middle of the night, Tommy, go to bed! School night! So which I kept playing, and then my dad came up and yelled at me, and I never did that again because he was pissed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just loved Fire Emblem back in the day, and it's been so long since I've played a mainline Fire Emblem game to where I really want to play this one. And I'll say the coolest thing that they showed off in this trailer was there was a whole bunch of characters from the other Fire Emblem games in this game. Like they showed Marth and a whole bunch of other people. So yeah, I'm pretty hyped for Fire Emblem.
Hella hyped.
Then the next big thing that we had was we had a whole bunch of DLC being shown off for Zelda Breath of the Wild, which, while I haven't been the biggest fan of DLC being shown off at E3, you know, where we're supposed to hear about new games, I can ultimately let it go in this circumstance because this game's not that old.
Yeah.
Like, I think, in large part, Breath of the Wild isn't even half a year old yet.
Nah, not even.
So it's fine for them to show off DLC like this, in my opinion. So, yeah, just more DLC for Breath of the Wild. We got shown 2 DLC packs, if I'm remembering correctly. And it looked like a fair bit of content. So, yeah, DLC for Zelda.
Hells yeah.
And I unfortunately have to admit that the most cringiest part of this press conference came from the Zelda section where they had one of the lead guys from Zelda there, and he's like, I can't wait to handle the Master Sword on the Switch, and then he's like, oh wait, how'd this Master Sword get here? That was a little cringe right there.
Yeah, that was pretty cringy. But other than that, it was a good presentation.
Yeah. But yeah, just DLC. If you liked Breath of the Wild, you get more of it to play.
Yeah.
Not really gonna spend a whole bunch of time on it. Then next up, we got a game that we already covered in our Ubisoft press conference, so we're not gonna spend a whole bunch of time on it. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Yeah.
Which, we already said the game looked really good. I liked how Ubisoft covered it. They showed a lot more gameplay elements and everything for it.
Yeah.
It's nice to see it here at Nintendo's press conference / digital event too, because it at least shows that they acknowledge the game as a full mainline Mario game and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it showed pretty solid strategy gameplay, so...
Yeah, and different gameplay from the Ubisoft one, which was really good.
So yeah, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Well, it still looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Then next up, we got news that Rocket League's coming to the Switch, boys!
Oh, man!
The RC soccer tournaments continue.
Just get serious.
Which I own Rocket League. I haven't dumped a whole bunch of time into it because I just have not had the time, but it is a really good game.
It is. It's really fun.
And it's nice to see that the Nintendo Switch crowd gets to enjoy it too.
Yeah.
So that's all I really want to cover about it. I don't think there's anything really like mind-blowing to another game being ported onto a system, so yeah. Rocket League.
Pretty much.
And then we have the last game of the press conference. Super Mario Odyssey.
Whoa.
This was a big game that they showed off.
This was definitely.
Because it looked like it was going to be like Mario 64 and Mario Dreamland and stuff like that, and like Mario Galaxy where you have the full 3D environments and everything.
It was like a mixture of a lot of things.
And they showed off a good bit of gameplay in this trailer reveal, which I like a lot. Like, if you're going to do trailers, if you can at least incorporate some gameplay into it, I like that. But all in all, it looks to be the next great Mario game. Like, it looks like it's going to be on Mario 64 levels in terms of awesomeness from everything they were showing off and everything, and like how you can like become the other monsters and stuff in the level and everything like that. Yeah. It just seemed relatively cool, and if I owned a Switch, I would definitely keep my eye on this because this is going to be one of the biggest titles for the system, hands down.
Easily, yeah.
So now that we're through the games, we can go ahead and just talk about our opinions overall.
There we go.
Sorry about that. If my screen cuts out, it goes blue, then I gotta shake it back. So now let's go ahead and talk about our opinions overall. Now, I didn't think this was a perfect press conference by any stretch of the means.
Yeah, definitely not.
And I feel like if I were younger, this press conference would have been way more whoa kind of deal, because most of the franchises and stuff they were talking about were franchises that have been going on for a while.
Yeah.
So it definitely spoke to me. And the different things that they were doing when they were like, take the Switch anywhere, showing like the environment transition from like indoors to outdoors and stuff. That would have been way cooler to me as a little kid than as a full-grown 21-year-old man that I am now.
Right.
So yeah, definitely the age gap there did kind of turn off the press conference for me a little bit. And then on top of that, Nintendo's kind of stagnating when it comes to exclusive content. They've been stagnating for a while, and it's still showing stagnating even further here, because there wasn't really any new exclusive properties. It was like Zelda, Mario, Metroid, Yoshi, Kirby. It was all a lot of what we've seen before franchise-wise, but it was new entries into those franchises.
Right.
And all in all, I have to give it to them that they did cram in a lot for how little time they were on stage. But I really wish that this was like another like 20 to 30 minutes at least, so we could get more information about these games.
Yeah.
Because my favorite thing about E3 is when they show off like game trailers, talk about the game, and like go through gameplay and stuff. That's the favorite thing for me, because I actually get to see the full unveilment of a game right there.
Right.
But for them to do it like this, it just doesn't feel as good in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where I'm at as far as the press conference goes. Where are you?
It did feel like a little bit rushed, but I did like feeling like, considering that they had like new titles for the past franchises that they've had, I feel like it's a good like little nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
But I would say they could have put more into it, because they did say that they were releasing more multiplayer games for the summer.
Yeah.
And I was looking forward to seeing that in there, but I didn't see it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it felt a little bit rushed. They could have did more, basically.
And, yeah. The one thing I gotta ask you before I say so here, did this press conference make you consider the Switch in any real capacity?
I'm not gonna lie, a little bit.
Yeah?
A little bit.
I gotta agree. Like, this actually made me seriously consider the Switch.
Yeah.
For a good little bit as we were watching everything, because a lot of the games they were showing, like Fire Emblem Warriors, Xenoblade Chronicles, and so on and so forth, were titles I kind of want to play.
Honestly.
So this definitely did do a good bit in terms of convincing me more towards picking up one.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah. Overall, I gotta say, Nintendo's press conference was pretty solid. They fit a lot in for the little time that they had there, but it did have a couple problems. So, all in all, I'd say that this one's still better than Sony, but not better than Ubisoft's press conference, in my opinion. Yeah. So, I'm gonna give it the same rating that I gave Microsoft's press conference, a 7 out of 10. What's your verdict?
Probably because of the nostalgia, 8 out of 10.
Fair enough, fair enough. I can side with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for watching our Nintendo video. And Urzaban out. Peace, bitches.
No.